Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear, and I have been meaning to do this review for way too long. So, first of all, I need to thank and apologize to my buddy Chris, who is the guy behind Cerberus Knives. Many of you may know. I'll link Cerberus Knives down below. He does awesome scales. He's designed the Artisan Cutlery Arian, which is a really cool knife. I still need to get a production one of those. He's working on, I think, a fixed blade collaboration, all kinds of stuff. He's been doing a lot. And he also has a pry bar of his own coming out, which I'm sure I'll be checking out soon as well. But he loaned me this pry bar. This is from Vulcan Knife and Tool. I don't know the guy behind Vulcan Knife and Tool personally, but I believe Christian from Cerberus Knives is friends with him. And I'll link the Instagram for Vulcan Knife and Tool down below as well. But I was loaned this pry bar to check it out and to try out a little bit, and then to review. And to be honest, first of all, I'm not a huge pry bar guy. The times when I've carried one the most have just been in my fanny pack. Like I had the Vero Mini Fulcrum in my fanny pack for a long time. I used it way more as a bit driver than I ever did as a pry bar. Every now and then, if I've got one that has a bottle opener on it, it'll come in handy a little bit, but I also don't drink alcohol, so I'm not like opening glass bottles all that often. Plus, I've been staying away from soda on a bit of a diet lately. It's not that common for me to open glass bottles either. And so pry bars just aren't a huge thing for me. I've done a few carry challenges. Like first I did it with the Lynch Northwest All Access Pass, and I liked the pry bar on its own, but I just couldn't find enough uses for it to justify putting one in my pocket every day. And I'm just not a big pry bar guy. Maybe at some point I'll find one that'll just click, or my lifestyle will change in some way that I feel like they're more justifiable for me. But as much as I appreciate them, they've never really been my thing. That said, he insisted that I check this one out because it's unique and has some things about it that I think people will find captivating, that I found captivating. And so I've taken the time to check it out. If I'm being totally honest, most of the time that I've had it in my possession, it has been either tucked in my fanny pack and I've kind of forgotten it's been there, or it's been sitting on my desk, like gnawing at me. Oh, I need to do a review on that. So let me say this. I have not used this to pry pretty much anything of consequence. I've used it to open a couple of boxes, just to see how it did for that, just using kind of the corner of the titanium here. That worked fine. I've slipped it in several different pockets. I've found that it carries very slim and very comfortably, but I don't have all that much to say about this from use because I'm just not the kind of guy who has found a use for it all that much. But I've owned a couple of pry bars now, so I can talk about it in relation to those as well. I've tried quite a few. So first and foremost, this has a couple of features that I think are pretty unique and pretty cool. Number one, it has this Micarta Inlay on it. And if you look on the Vulcan Knife and Tool Instagram, you'll see there's a bunch of different options for these Micarta inlays. This one also happens to be anodized blue. So it's pretty cool. You've got this Micarta inlay on here. It goes with the blue anodization really well, I think, but there's options. So there's different colors of ano, there's raw titanium, and there's a bunch of different patterns of micarta that are laid into them. I think that's cool. Then secondly, this is a Lynch clip that's on here. It happens at the moment to be wearing a pair of 3 Lynch clip, but you could run this on either side, presumably, because it looks to me like you could. And not only will a Lynch clip obviously work because one is on it, but that means you could, foreseeably, I would imagine, run any MXG gear clip that you want. You could run a factory Spyderco clip on it. You could probably run a bug out clip on it. There are a number of clips that you could swap onto this if you have a clip preference. So this one's a pair of 3 Lynch clip at the moment. I think a PM2 one would probably make more sense because it wouldn't have the notch out for the lanyard hole, but this clip, I love Lynch pair of 3 and PM2 clips. I have quite a few of them around. Quite a few of them are on my Spydercos right now. They're comfortable, they work really well, so I think that's cool that there's some like swappability in the clips on this one, because most pry bars just have the clip that they come with, or they're not even compatible with the clip. This one you've got options, and a lot of them, which is cool. So between the Micarta Inlay and the fact that you can swap clips, I think this is a cool kind of unique offering. Other than that, it's another titanium pry bar. The way that the pry kind of face is milled up here to me just seems like pretty much any other. I imagine compared to most other titanium pry bars, you'll find a similar level of utility in this one. You could use this, I guess, as a big flathead screwdriver. You can use it to pry or scrape things, and that's pretty much it. For some people, they do enough of those activities, prying and scraping and getting things open and whatever, that it makes sense for them to carry one. I very, very, very exceptionally rarely do stuff like that with my gear. So it's just not a thing that makes it in my pocket. Again, we've been over that. The things that I'm finding that make pry bars make the most sense for me are, again, if they have another function like also being a bit driver. That's why the Vero one worked so well for me for so long. Now I'm kind of on a quest where I'm trying to find a different multi-tool solution because I really didn't use the pry bar aspect of it very much, and I think there are other bit driver solutions that might make more sense. So I've sold that, and I'm trying to decide what to get to try next. But yeah, this one is just simple, which is fine because I honestly think, even though that makes it, for me, not something that I feel like I need in my collection, for the people who want a pry bar just for the sake of being a pry bar, I've also heard some people who carry pry bars expressing that they would prefer for it to not have the additional features. It's like, to me, on a pocket knife, right? Like, I have this knife that my dad gave me years and years ago that also has a screwdriver that comes out of the back. It's like a Kershaw. I think they might even still make them, but it's got plastic scales on it, and then it's got these things that fold out that hold a couple of bits. So it's got 2 flathead and 2 Phillips head bits, and then it's got this screwdriver thing that can fold out the back of it. And what that's done is it's created 2 usable tools, right? The knife blade that's on that works fine. It's a Kershaw, like 8CR13 blade, whatever, but it also has a screwdriver that works fine. I've gotten quite a bit of use out of that knife over the years because it's just like a drawer knife that I'll grab if I'm doing some little tinkering project. But that knife is inferior in its qualities as a knife compared to all of the knives that take up my pocket space these days. Like, as just a cutting tool, it's not as good because they've bundled those other things onto it. I think the same thing can happen with pry bars, where, like, the Vero Fulcrum is a great example. I really, really like that mini Fulcrum that I had, and I found it very useful. But because it was also a bit driver, the way that the bits are stored in it, and the way that they're retained with those O-ring, like, little bands, it made the pocket clip useless. It doesn't really work to put that thing in your pocket because the way that it stores the bits gets in the way of it. And so it was a little bit less effective as just a pry bar that's meant to clip in your pocket, as evidenced by the pocket clip that's on it, because it also has the bit driver. If you've got one that also has a bottle opener, for somebody who's looking to just pry things and they're not looking to have this as some kind of social tool, the bottle opener could get in the way, could make it less ergonomic, more uncomfortable, doesn't serve a purpose for prying and scraping, right? So I see the merits of making one that is just a pry bar. But again, it's just not for me. It's not my thing. And I knew that when I said I would check this out, but I was interested in checking it out because it has the Micarta Inlay, because it takes Lynch clips or other Spyderco focused clips. Like, those are cool elements to this. And so I think a lot of people are probably going to end up liking these. I think the fact that it's an inlay is probably going to be the biggest thing. And it's a nice inlay. The way that it's set in, there's no voids, there's no gaps. It's done well, and it looks cool. I think if this was mine, I'd honestly probably switch the orientation of the clip on it. I don't know if that would change the functionality at all, but by doing that, you'd then see the entire inlay exposed, or I might even run it without a clip, honestly, if I had this for myself, because I'm not going to carry it in my pocket anyways. I don't know. There's ways you could do it, but I think the inlay looks really, really cool, and that's definitely going to be like one of the biggest selling points of this, because that's different from most other pry bars that are out there. I'll say as well, I did recently try the Pena X Series pry bar that Enrique Pena put out, and that had a little micarta inlay on it, or scale, or I don't know what you'd want to call it, but that pry bar I had to get rid of immediately because for me, they put all this jimping all over it, which if you know me, you know I hate jimping most of the time, but it made it such a pain to use the pocket clip and get it in and out of pocket because it would snag on any pocket that I tried to do it in. And it also made it less comfortable to hold on to. It was just, in my opinion, not a very good pry bar design because they like went over the top with it. But part of why I wanted that one was because it had a micarta inlay. Thought that was really cool. Meanwhile, this is functionally, I think, superior to that one and also has a micarta inlay. And I think this one's done even better. This is really nice. So I believe these are also machined here in Southern California. They're US made, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that 100% because I'm not positive, but I'm almost certain that these are built here at a shop I've been to in Southern California, which is cool as well. So anyway, it's a cool thing. Again, I will link Cerberus knives down below, and I will link Vulcan knife and tool down below. Vulcan knife and tool is the one who's behind this, and then Chris from Cerberus is the one who loaned it to me. This is his. So that's why I'll link both. But if you're interested in looking into these, Vulcan knife and tool is who you'd want to talk to. And then, yeah, check out Chris from Cerberus if you haven't before, because he makes incredible Spyderco scales, which I've got several sets of at this point, some of which are living long-term on some of my Spydercos. And then the Artisan Arian, again, is his design, and he's got other stuff that he's working on that is really, really cool. So anyway, thanks for checking it out, guys. I'm glad I finally got this done. I really need to send this back. I've had it for way, way, way too long. People probably don't even remember me unboxing this. It's been that long. So anyway, thanks for checking it out. We'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.